Might have told you only a court can give you some privileges, but that doesn't mean this court. So I have no authority over your license unless you were if you were in our sobriety court program, then I've got some leeway, but outside of sobriety court, I've got nothing to do with licensing.
Judge, based upon
A circuit court judge, if you file the petitions, a circuit court judge can order the Secretary of State to give you driving privileges. I'm not a circuit court judge. It doesn't matter what your concern is. It doesn't change the reality. I can't give you a license.
A struggling mother walked into court expecting punishment, but left with something far more powerful. As she opened up about addiction, trauma, and rebuilding her life, the judge delivered an emotional speech about healing, motherhood, and second chances. The courtroom fell completely silent during this unforgettable moment.
All right, counsel, on Shamari, your appearance.
John Graziani appearing on behalf of Ms. Shamari for this sentencing and the violation of probation.
Which one you want to talk about first?
Judge, I'd like to talk about the sentencing. The reason being is I think all this could be tied in at this time. We have no problems with the from Your Honor and staff. She's in a position to be doing that. Although it would take a good deal of time on the court work program because she does have she's helping to raise
Okay.
an daughter, and she's also trying to get back into the workforce because of what's happened. Chuck.
Okay. How old's your son?
My
Daughter.
Daughter. How old's your daughter? Okay. Where at?
For a logistics company.
Where?
For a logistics company.
Okay, where they at?
They're in Deferred. They're based
Okay.
in Deferred. See where it is near, so then it would just analyze the copies.
Okay. Good luck. All right, go ahead, counsel.
Bit of background.
Mhm.
She did have some exceptions to with what was stated. She felt, I don't know if there was a mix-up within the system, but she felt she was in a position to go back to her mother's residence in Van Buren Township. And it was an honest.
All right, hold on. Now we're on the violation part. Let's do one file at a time.
With regard to the
Let's do one at a time.
sentencing,
Yep.
that you got this recommendation.
Okay.
And allow her to move on with.
Okay. All right. So how come you haven't worked for a year? How come you haven't worked for a year?
No, I worked last November and I wanted to go to rehab because I've been asking my family for help because I've been going postpartum and I was doing everything on my own and I was just wore out and I was finding that my drinking was becoming a problem
Mhm.
before my wife and they thought that I could get through it and it got to a point where they eventually realized, so I testified to go to rehab and watch my daughter. And so when I went, I think watch my daughter and moved back home with them just to get a break. And when I came back, it was just I don't want to put blame on anybody. It's just been a difficult relationship with my mother. I love her dearly. But
It's a very toxic relationship, Judge.
So did you go to rehab?
so
Where? Good.
reinstated to transitional being there 8 days and working with the chairman and everything.
Do they do transitional housing?
Do transitional housing, but I am in housing right now. I'm living with my boyfriend.
Okay. All right. So you're out of mom's house.
No, but when they arrested me, they didn't.
All right. So
When they arrested me, they.
hold on just a minute. Hold on. I got Cross Street and Woodbury. Which one's a good address?
Where I moved out, my parents moved out of the house.
Right.
So which saw the.
Okay. I just asked you which one's a good address, Cross or Woodbury or neither. Okay. All right. So we'll fix the computer on that. All right. So you did rehab. How long have you been clean?
I. And that's something very new. I saw somebody do it one time. I tried it stupidly, I'm embarrassed, didn't say that. Then I stopped drinking. I've been clean since January 1st, but I've not a daily drinker. It was when I was alone, apart from my daughter, and I was having a difficult time getting my daughter back from my mom.
Okay.
So
Judge, the record should also reflect that Ms. Shamari, did spend, I believe, 55 to 58 days in the Wayne County Jail. And explain that. to the judge.
Yeah, they.
For one of these files or something else?
So,
That's not what I asked you. One of these files or something else?
Yes.
Okay, was it which one? The domestic violence file?
violation for the.
Okay.
So the case was the police station didn't have record of the note of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
it said there was no context related.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't know, I'm a little confused what I.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just want
Right.
to be honest, so now there's no context, that's what I put on.
Okay.
Re-put on for.
So once again, we're getting into the other file. Let's get back to the drinking and driving file. So anything else you want to tell me before I sentence you on that file?
Which
The drinking and driving file.
I was being pressured, to go to work and I was turning around, not even, 0.2 miles away from my house, and I turned around and, to go back home because I wasn't going to do it, I wasn't gonna risk it, and when I was at the gas station, going back to go back home,
Mhm.
I was full.
Good.
It was literally, I walked distance.
All right. Anything else before I sentence?
Judge show mercy, she does have a tremendous work ethic, she's worked, for 20 years. And, Ms. Shimmery is asked regarding licensing sanctions, I've indicated to her since October of 1999. It's, the purview of the Secretary of State, so Judge Oakley is not in a position.
Yeah.
Recommendations as to.
And the state is telling me that it's up to you,
It doesn't make any sense.
and so I.
They might have told you only a court can give you some privileges, but that doesn't mean this court. So I have no authority over your license unless you were if you were in our sobriety court program, then I've got some leeway, but outside of sobriety court, I've got nothing to do with licensing.
Judge, based upon,
A circuit court judge, if you file the petitions, a circuit court judge can order the Secretary of State to give you driving privileges. I'm not a circuit court judge. It doesn't matter what your concern is. It doesn't change the reality. I can't give you a license.
what's happened is I don't believe there's gonna be any significant issue because of the fact that she received her first operating on the period in 2007 and then recently, in
19.
19.
Right. Right.
She's got work ahead of her, Judge, and again, we're just asking for mercy.
Yeah. So as to your license, I'll tell you this, when you are eligible to get your to ask for driving privileges to be restored, hire an attorney. Because I've seen too many people, they try to do it on their own and they waste time. If you hire an attorney that does a lot of license restorations, they get all your ducks in a row so that when you go in for the hearing, you walk out with something. All right, so just put that in the back of your head. So when it's time for you, when you're eligible to ask, you ask with the help of an attorney. All right? I don't know when that is. I don't pay any attention to that because it's completely out of my ball. It's not in my ballywick at all.
Judge, to cover myself
Yeah.
and Ms. Shamari, I would ask if in fact she is eligible. To me, it appears that she is eligible based upon the time frame in which these unfortunate incidents took place, but she's, if in the event she does need some help, if she could participate in the sobriety court because of the fact that it would enhance her opportunity to, go to and from work. And
Did you give that any thought when you did the assessment?
Yes, however, with the new domestic violence offense, I don't know that she would be able.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a pending case now?
Cases.
Just the one I've got up today. Right. Right. Okay. All right. Anything else before I sentence?
she did the anger management during the share house program, Judge. In fact, she participated. Although she would.
Okay. For the third time, now we're talking about the domestic violence file again. The drunk driving is what I'm trying to get done with. Is there anything else before I sentence on the drunk driving? Because there's no anger management component to that charge. Okay. All right. So let me tell you what I'm hearing from you. What I'm hearing from you is somebody that doesn't think they've got an alcohol issue.
No, that's, I, no, that,
Okay. Okay, okay, all right.
and that's why I'm so.
No, that's all right. I want to hear what you guys say. Go ahead.
The outpatient substance abuse counseling.
You're doing that now?
I'm sorry, it was Hagira, which is Canada. And I also working with the chairman, and it was share, I met up with Share House, I went to Share House. So I'm doing their transition meetings with them as well.
What's that look like? How often?
I,
With Share House? Okay. Live meetings? Okay. 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 So you're doing Share House meetings every day?
covering coach to Share House.
Okay.
So yes, it became a problem. It was later in life.
Mhm.
I believe it started from my postpartum. It's nothing that was, that yes, it.
Okay. You probably don't have documentation on all that stuff she just told us about. Okay. If you, hold on a minute. Just hold on a minute. If you have all that, would that change your recommendation about inpatient or outpatient? Intensive?
I mean, I'd have to review the paperwork.
Right.
To see what type of treatment she's in, but
Yeah. So here's where I'm going. Her recommendation, and I was completely ready to follow, was intensive outpatient or inpatient. Because as much as you will probably want to get back to work, my first concern is I want to make sure that the substance abuse has been dealt with effectively before you start trying to work. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave that door open. Okay. After Ms. Trolley has a chance to review what you've got, probably reach out to the Share House and just confirm everything you're doing. Then we'll take a look at whether or not continuing those courses of treatment are enough for us, or if we want more. Understood? Okay. You're going to share those with her. I'm not, but you're not going to get an answer today. I'm going to give her a chance to review everything, reach out, ask questions if she has to. So, I'm just gonna order today substance abuse treatment. Just leave it there. Okay? We'll let you know whether or not I'm thinking more is needed than what you're currently doing. And at that point, it'll be up to you if you want to have another hearing and Mr. Graziani can be here. That's up to you. I got no problem either way. Or I'm gonna say, Ms. Trolley's checked it all out and we're okay with you just continuing the Share House program. Okay? In a year. Okay, so it's either option A, option B. Understood? Okay, all right. So other than that, on the drinking and driving file, I'm adopting in full the recommendations that Mr. Graziati went over with you. That was items 1 through 11. That includes the work program days. I'm going to suggest that you schedule those work program days ASAP to try to bang them all out before they start impeding other things you need to do. Okay? On the money, fines and costs on that file are $1,300. I'm going to send you downstairs to talk about payment options downstairs. I don't think you were in here when I mentioned it earlier. When I put somebody on probation, it's not a punishment. It's because that's the best way I know to effectuate a change in behavior. So I'm not punishing you with what I'm trying to do. So for example, the 10 days on the work program, that's an alternative to jail, right? Jail, work program, money, those are all punishments. The other stuff we give you to do, like the substance abuse treatment and everything else, that's to effectuate a change in behavior. All right? Okay. So what that means is if you go into this whole process with the mindset, this is for me, what do I have to do to get something out of it? She becomes your new best friend. Because if you're having problems complying, you're going to reach out to her and you're going to say, this is what I'm trying. This is where I'm running into problems. How do we fix it together? Because her job is not to come to me and say, Judge, put her in jail. Her job is to come to me and say, Judge, she's doing great. Can we close her out early? That's what makes her tail wag. Okay? All right. So I think that takes care of everything on that file. Did I miss anything on that one, Mr. Rowley? Did I miss anything on that file? I think we're good on that one. Okay, so now let's move on to the other file. Oh, hold on a minute. Oh, you also owe us money on a disorderly person ticket from Van Buren Township last year. So when you go downstairs to talk about options to pay on this one, just make sure you roll it into one, whatever you do, one plan or whatever. Okay? Don't forget that's out there. All right, so on the other file, which is the incident date March 4, 2026. Yeah. Yeah. Domestic violence that we're here today for violation. Also on that file, I gave her 30 days jail, 30 days credit on the first file. So on this file, yeah, so it was back to the house where Van Buren didn't think you were supposed to be back to the house, and then you were huffing there. Right? That's what that whole incident was all about. There are no new charges coming out of there that you know of. Correct? Okay. All right. Okay. All right, and then the other violation, I put that in air quotes for the record, is no documentation of anger management or substance abuse evaluation, and that's what you're sitting on now that you're going to share with Ms. Trolley, correct? Yeah, but it covers the anger management. You did that at Share House, right? And obviously they did an evaluation because you're in treatment with them. So I think that's covered. All right. Okay. And this was, let me go back to the original sentencing date. All right, so this was originally a 12-month delayed sentence under 769.4A. I'm okay with just running that to completion, no new charges. All right, I understand the confusion. The huffing blows me away, but you're dealing with that with your substance abuse treatment now. So the fact that you were there when you weren't supposed to be there, I'm willing to write that one off. That was a confusion between the police department and you. So that one, that's a mulligan. You know what a mulligan is? Golf term? It's a do-over. I'm giving you grace on that one. So until next March, just no more problems. Okay? Clear?
Yes, Judge.
You look confused.
Are you talking to me, Judge?
Yeah.
No, I'm.
All right. Okay. Okay.
My relationship with them, if I'm not allowed to speak,
Yeah.
I have a relationship with their interest, you know, it is happening, it's a music relationship.
Right.
I love my daughter with her, so I don't, I don't wanna keep my daughter away from her, I just don't want her to see the real abuse.
Yeah. So here, you want some advice? If you are fully engaged in the Higuera and Share House programs, then you are literally reinventing yourself. Would you agree with me? Okay. As part of that reinvention, make sure you spend a fair amount of time with your therapist discussing the toxic relationship you have with your mother.
No.
Here's what. There are ways. I mean, is she physically abusive to your daughter? Okay. Yeah, but you're old enough to stand up for yourself, right?
She's bipolar, schizophrenic.
No, my point is, if you think there's value to your daughter to have a relationship with her grandmother, then you have to set the boundaries for that.
Judge,
Right?
Tremendous respect for, the adults, particularly in the hierarchy, the major.
Yeah. Yeah. But here's the thing. You're the mama bear now. Where is your first allegiance? To your 5-year-old daughter or to the respect you think you owe your mother? Absolutely. So what I'm telling you is you're in a perfect situation with all this reinvention that's going on, with all these professionals that are helping you become you 2.0. You're in a perfect environment to get the assistance you need so that you can set healthy boundaries so that your daughter can still have a relationship with her mother within the boundaries you set. And that's why I'm saying these people will help you build that confidence, right? Because number one is your daughter's safety, bar none. That's number 1, 2, 3, and through 10, right? Yeah. Which your daughter's seeing, which causes trauma on your daughter. So then when your daughter's your age, she's standing in front of somebody wearing a dress like me, right? Because your childhood trauma is a big part of what leads you to make the bad decisions you've been making. Would you agree? So to keep your daughter safe doesn't just mean from physical abuse, right? So you're learning how to do that. And you know what? Say a prayer. Maybe by doing that, you can actually change your mother's behaviors. Right? Maybe she wants to have a relationship with your daughter to the point where she'll change the way she does things. We can hope. And if not, then maybe it's just, Mom, what's your daughter's name? London. Mom, London misses you. Can we meet at McDonald's? We're going to get her some fries and spend a little time, just the three of us. Okay? Safe environment. She still gets to see her grandmother, right? But you set the boundaries, not Mom. Because you're the one that's working on reinventing yourself. Unfortunately, your mother hasn't done the work. Right? Okay. Good luck. Good morning, Council. Are you ready? Carter? William?
Yes, Your Honor.
Council, your appearance, please.
The name is Court Francis Finnegan of Heard Avenue. Mr. Carter, he's my life.
Thank you. All right, here for sentencing, correct? All right. Have you two had a chance to go over the report and recommendation, Council?
Yes.
No corrections? All right. Anything to add by way of allocution?
I hear that, I'm truly really important that he's really taking this serious.
Mhm.
AA, what, 2 times a week?
Good,
Right, toward and for.
good. How long you been in?
Since April.
Okay. How's it going? So fairly fresh. Yeah. Okay. So what I notice with a lot of my participants is the first couple months are tough because they're trying to figure out how to juggle everything and time management and everything else. Are you struggling a little bit?
It's hard on the team now. So at the beginning, it was
Good.
trying to plan everything.
Yep. Yep.
But
Good.
It's not too challenging.
Good. Good. I'm glad you're in. I'm glad you're in the program. All right. Anything else?
He has a really good job that he's been working on.
My board.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, I'm working there, doing good. My manager wants to promote me next year.
Oh, that's a new job too. Yeah. Good. Good. All right. Anything else you want to add?
Nothing here, I just said we thank would appreciate if you please accept the recommendation.
I'm going to. Good. Good. So I want to give you something to think about. And I'm adopting in full the recommendation. We'll make that official in a minute. I saw, were you familiar with the adverse childhood experiences before you took the assessment for us? Okay. So you came in at a 6, which is a fairly high number. I want to encourage you to do some research because I'm going to guess, I think you and I could have a really interesting conversation if we sat down over a cup of hot beverage and talked about your childhood. And I'm going to bet that over the last 30 years, you've had this thought through your head a number of times, like, what the hell was I thinking? Why am I doing that?
Right.
Okay. I want you to get into this. I want you to play around on the internet and do a little research on adverse childhood events. When I first got turned on to that concept, at some kind of judicial seminar, I went to something about trauma. You're in prison counsel, just bear with me. And they kind of whet my interest by giving me some of the high points of the whole thing. And then I started doing some research. And I found the premier study that started the whole thing. And it was, I don't remember now, but it seems to me it was, ancient history. It was like back in the late 70s, early 80s or something like that. But adverse childhood events are basically anything that could be traumatic. And trauma, your trauma is not my trauma. So for example, you at 12 years old, you might have been in a car accident with your family. I could have been in the exact same car accident with my family at 12 years old. It might have been traumatic for you and not traumatic for me. Okay. So that's where it gets really interesting to me. But all these different childhood traumatic events add up. And and I'm trying to make this short for you, but I really, really encourage you to get into it and look into it because I think it's going to answer a lot of questions you've had about your life. So for example, you're an engineer, so I have an idea how your brain works because I got buddies that are engineers. And they don't think like I do, right? I mean, you guys don't process like other people process. All right. But your brain, our brains are developed or are designed to develop a certain way. And, our norm, right? And then something happens, flight or flight, right? And we peak and then things get back to normal. And then something else happens and then we get back to normal. Well, kids that have enough trauma in their lives, they do this. And then they come down once in a while and then they go back up and they spend a lot of time up here. Okay. And as a result, your brain literally develops differently than it's designed to develop. Your thought processes don't develop normally. Okay? So for me, what I took out of that whole thing is, and this is the biggest part for me, and it did change the way I operate on the bench when I'm conscious, when I'm on my game 100%. Because instead of thinking, when I'm dealing with somebody where you're at, instead of thinking, what the hell's going on with this guy? What happened to this guy? That's a big game changer. Would you agree with me? What happened to this guy? What happened to change the way he deals with the world around him differently than he was designed to deal with the world around him? And the reason, and I always give some version of this lecture when I see somebody with a high number, because I think if we don't know what makes us tick, we got very little chance of dealing with it properly. And I'm thinking that your adverse childhood events are a big part of what make you tick, and you might not even know it.
I agree.
Okay, so do some research on it. And one of the things that blew my mind is not just how it changes our life, how we emotionally interact with the world, physically. People that are at a high number on the childhood ACEs, they call it ACEs score, and I don't remember the percentages, I'm just gonna throw numbers at you. They're 50% more likely to have heart disease later in life. Okay, they're 70% more likely to abuse substances later in life. I mean, it's not just, it's going to affect our relationships because we process information differently than everybody else we deal with. Maybe it's crazy, but I want you to look into it. Now, the very, very best part for me as a guy that works with kids, because I've been running a juvenile program, is what can change the way your brain works, can rewire your brain? Love. I think that's the coolest thing. That makes my tail wag every time I think about it, because that means that kid that's living up here, what can change that kid's pathway, literally the neural pathways in his head, is a relationship with an adult, can be a coach, can be that teacher that takes that extra interest in him, could be a new, mom gets a new, he gets a new stepfather. All it takes is an adult that kid understands, that person cares about me, and that can change the way their brain processes. That's mind-blowing stuff for me. It's pretty cool. All right. Not exactly what you expected to hear today, probably. But I would love to hear from you after you've done some research and ask me or tell me if it has been like V8 moment after V8 moment for you, looking back on your life through that filter.
I appreciate that.
Would you share that feedback with me? Okay. All right. Let's get to the business at hand. Okay. Yeah.
He talks in church, he's like a minister.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That family support is huge. Huge. Yeah. Okay. All right. So back to business. I'm going to adopt in full the recommendations of the probation department. That means, what do we have? Items 1 through 10 that were recommendations that you two went over. Those are now court orders. That includes the 40 hours of community service. That's just charity work. As long as the IRS is registered with it, the organization as a 501c3, you volunteer with them, get a letterhead that says you've done 40 hours, get that to your probation officer, and we're fine. All right. And you can talk to the probation officer about how much time you've got to get that done. Fines that cost $1,500. Can you pay it today, or do you need to talk options? Do that downstairs. Any questions? Good luck in Waterford. You keep them happy, you keep us happy. All right. Have a great day. Council, always a pleasure. Have a nice day, ma'am. Honestly, I've got that one. That's a sentencing. We don't need her.
Okay.
Who's the guy I just did? I did cross him off. Carter?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I can't find him. Oh, there he is. Council, your appearance for Osley.
Good morning, Your Honor. Marshall Goldberg and Mr. Ackley.
Good morning.
That's okay.
Have you fellas had a chance to look at the report and recommendation?
You remember, we emailed it to my client, we looked it over again today, and we talked about it.
Good. All right. Anything to correct?
Not to correct.
All right. Anything to add?
Uh,
Go ahead.
I guess it's more elocution.
I'm ready to hear it.
When we resolved this matter, I asked the prosecutor what his thoughts were at 7411, and he said it's certainly up to you and the judge and whatever probation determines. So ultimately, I'm asking you for it to impose a sentence that would be under 7411. I talked to my client about employment, we can get in terms of days, and when surmising, this may have something to do with it.
This shouldn't even be on a record anywhere.
Well, it's still listed as pending.
Well, that's going to be, it'll be pending until he gets to the end of his deferment then.
7411, at least it may not appear
Mm-hmm.
system.
Mm-hmm. Where you been applying? Okay. When's the last time you had a job? Where were you working then? How long? What's the status of your driving record? Your privileges? You driving? Okay. Where'd you go to high school? What was your GPA? Have you done any school since then? What are your long-term plans? What are you thinking? Like carpenter, plumber? What are you thinking? Okay, where at? You got something picked out? Okay. What are you waiting for?
I was gonna, if you want some applications,
I know what the process is. My question is, what are you waiting for?
Sorry.
Well, you're waiting because you haven't done it yet. What are you waiting for? How long have you decided that you want to do that?
Year.
Okay. I'm not excited. All right, go ahead, counsel.
Your Honor, right, he's not working. Any way we can minimize financing costs, I'd appreciate it. There was a civil infraction that went along with this because of the grace of the grandmother that was taken care of.
Mhm.
Certainly was not at this point standing on its feet independent, which ultimately this court, I think, I'm sure knows, is his goal based on requirements. But there's no aggravating circumstances about this, no prior record. Good candidate, but something to go not appear on his record.
You got his file, Mr. Trolley? No CCH?
But according to my BSI investigation,
Okay. No prior convictions for misdemeanors or felonies? I'm not inclined to give him a 7411. He already got the big break when they took it from a felony down to a misdemeanor. What are your thoughts, Mr. Trolley?
My thoughts are, it gives him the opportunity to prove to you, you can fully comply. You can set certain goals.
I can do all that without giving him that extra gift.
I understand, but it's the same.
I'll tell you what, you get something on a plea agreement from the prosecutor that he offers it, and then I'll consider it.
They're not in here today. I didn't see it.
No, they're not. They're here on Tuesdays. Tuesday, say,
Oh, we have some.
I'll tell you what, I'll adjourn sentencing. He can do something other than talk about doing a trade school between now and sentencing. That will make my tail wag. And as long as the prosecutor has no objections, then I'll consider a delayed sentence. How's that? All right. How much time you want? Keep in mind, you got to make my tail wag before I see you, or I'm not going to give you the 7-4-11.
Yeah.
No, 2 weeks? No, brother.
That filled in. No, their companies don't move. that.
You're going to make my tail wag. That means you're going to come back here with a job, or you're going to come back and you're going to be enrolled somewhere so you can get a job.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you need a scholarship of some sort or a loan of some sort to begin your trade school? No.
Okay. The other thing that'll make my tail wag is if you had a job. Okay. Matter of fact, I can do better than that. Hold on. You got a driver's license. You can drive, right? Legally. You got a car. You got one you can borrow. Could you get to Monroe every day for a job? Okay. All right. I got a buddy that's always hiring.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, I've had his cards on my desk for 15 years. Yeah. I'll tell you what, when's your next sentencing date? June 25th. We'll have you come back. Go ahead, look at your account. So as long as your attorney's available on June 25th, you come back that day and you've got a job, and I mean a real job. I don't mean like 20 hours a week in McDonald's. Look, I want you to understand something the way I think. You're 22 years old. Are you as healthy as you look? I mean, you don't have any health problems that keep you from working hard, right? Okay. So in my world, you should be working 60 or 70-hour weeks. Because when you work that hard in your 20s, when you're an old man like me, you don't have to work that hard. All right. So when I see a kid that's 22 years old and he hasn't worked for months, it's offensive to me. Because I know lots of people that are looking for help. All right. So you come back, you've got a real job, like a full-time plus job, or you're in trade school, even better, if you're in trade school and have a job, then I will consider his request to put you on a 7411. Deal? Okay. Are you available that day? What time you want to do it?
9. Sorry.
And give me the date again. June what? 25? 9 a.m. Here's my note to myself because I have a terrible memory. Tail wagging job or school. Got a plan, gentlemen? We have a plan?
Yes.
All right.
Baker is,
Baker? Which one? I got more than one Baker. Alexis, thank you. Mr. Bott, it's your appearance for Mr. Martinez.
Jeff Deferred, 45367, appearing on behalf of and Proceedings.
Good morning.
Your Honor, today is the daytime sentencing in this matter. I have received the pre-sentence report. I have reviewed Mr. Martinez. We find it factual. We find it actually accurate. No additions, no deletions, no corrections. Section 8, we would have a comment about, but other than that, we have to be about the recommendations of probation.
Okay. All right. Work days.
Your Honor, this young man works 6 days a week, and he finds that that would be difficult. And I told him the court may consider an alternative of community service. It would be more hours, but you could do it in the evenings, and give back to the community. He wishes to do that if appropriate.
You work 6 days a week where? You need a better job. What are they paying you per hour? Okay, because what I've got is you're making $80 a day. All right, so what'd you make last week?
You made 140.
140 a day? How many hours do you work every day? So would you agree with me? That's like 14, 15 bucks an hour? You need a better job. Okay. What do you want to do? You're 20 years old. What do you want to be doing when you're old, 35, 40 years old?
It's like one thing that I've been struggling. I don't know what I want to do.
Okay.
I just know I want to start my own company.
Okay. Doing what?
But I have to be my license back.
When's that going to happen? Okay. You got a car? Got a truck? How are you getting to work with magic?
I work with four of my friends, like my high school.
All right, so that's one of the reasons you're working that job, even though it's not a good job, because you can get there. Okay. Understand, if I give you the option Mr. Bowditch is asking me to give you, there is no grace from that. Work program is an alternative to jail. Break number one. If I go from work program to community service, that's break number two. Don't expect a third one. Clear? All right, so let's do 48 hours community service. And I'm gonna help you with this. I'm not just gonna give you a deadline. I want you to do at least 10 hours a month. Well, 10 hours every 30 days, starting today. All right. That way you're not tempted to just keep putting it off and waiting for a better time to get started. You got that, Mr. Rowley?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, when you go downstairs, we can give you a list of organizations that are already pre-approved. You don't have to work from our list, but it makes it easier because you know that list, we're going to say yes. All right. You get official letterhead from wherever you do your hours and turn them into Mr. Rowley. 10 hours at least every. There you go. All right. Other than that, I will accept the recommendations of probation in full. That means you and Mr. Bowditch went over 1 through 11. I'm accepting all of those and making those court orders with that one change. The days are now hours. Fines and costs, I'm gonna even give you a break on the money. Fines and costs, $1,000. Go downstairs and talk about your options. You do everything else I'm telling you to do, and I'll work with you forever on money. If you're doing everything else I'm telling you to do. So you do your hours, you stay out of trouble, you do everything else, then the money is the least of my worries. Understood? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Good luck with your business. I'm going to make a suggestion to you. When you are legally driving and you've got your business up and running, then bring some cards up here and leave them with me, and I will try to get you some business. I just had a guy I know really well. His church was trying to get rid of a copier. They got a price $300 just to get rid of the copier because it was so big, none of the old people in the church could move it. All right. I think you can make some decent money doing this. You just got to get the word out. All right. Good luck.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
In a courtroom built on justice, every decision carries weight far beyond the walls of the court. Today, the law was not only enforced, it was understood with wisdom and humanity. The judge looked beyond mistakes and recognized effort, growth, and the fight to rebuild a life. That is the power of true justice, not just punishment but fairness guided by compassion. The courtroom became a place where hope still mattered, where second chances were earned, and where respect for the law stood stronger than ever. Moments like these remind us why justice systems exist: to protect, guide, and give people a path forward.